Thanks for doing it. Like, I appreciate it.
Oh, of course, anytime. Yeah, I'm excited.
Wicked. So, what sort of what inspired you sort of to get into music and start doing it?
Honestly, it was my siblings, like my cousins. I grew up in like a big family, and we all like, for the most part, kind of came up during that time where Cash Money Records was like really popping in New Orleans, and that was a big focal point in my house, at least. Cash Money and No Limit, and just like all of the rap music that was coming from the immediate area where we lived. And so my older siblings, I'm from a house of six kids. My older siblings, they were into rap, and my older cousins were into rap, and they were like trying to be like rappers themselves when they were like teenagers. And so, yeah, that was kind of like the reason I got into it. It was just like what was in the house.
New Orleans sort of help you because it's a big music city. I think New Orleans is it, or am I wrong? Is
Oh
it?
no, 100%.
Yeah. Did that help
Birthplace of
push you?
jazz. I think so. I mean, I grew up doing brass band, which is big here. It's the birthplace of jazz. And so I came up doing trombone. I had rapping in my house. And then bounce music is big in the area. So all these influences are constantly just, swimming through my everyday experiences.
So when you wrote that first song when you were 13, like obviously being inspired by Lil Wayne, what did that feel like when you like sort of wrote your first song?
Hmm. I guess I felt kind of like at that point, because I distinctly remember that day.
Yeah.
I think I felt like um sort of like when you see those montages of dancers in the movie and they finally get the big routine. Like essentially that's what it was, because I had been like freestyling and like just doing improvisational rap since I was 9 years old. That's kind of how my family did our thing. It was mostly just off the top of the dome, what can you come up with? And then later, some of us transitioned to writing full songs. And for me, especially working with my cousin Zanetta, we had been for a long time trying to write songs. And like, you're like 11 and 12, you're like trying to figure that out. Um, but when I did it that day, I was sitting in my garage, and it felt like that moment where you like at the end when you finally wrap the whole thing, you're like you landed the big finish in the movie. Like that's what it felt like. Um, and I think that kind of formed how I write raps today. It's all like kind of athletic in a weird way.
Yeah, that's quality. Is that what do you reckon that gave you the push then to sort of follow it as a like a career type thing? So,
I think so. I mean, I don't know. I think the push really came later. I think at that time, which I'm very blessed for this. I think at that time it was kind of like playing a video game or like solving a Rubik's Cube. I don't think at that time I necessarily had the drive to make it a full career. Um, I was excited about it. It made me want to like definitely rap forever, but I don't think I thought about the career aspect. I think I just was like really having fun with this like exercise type of thing.
cool. What led to you co-founding the Cut and Stew Records?
Cut and Sew. So
Yeah, Cut and Stew, sorry, yeah.
Cut and Sew Records, that's kind of like a formation of a bunch of different things. Me and my best friend Jackie Jules, we had been collaborating together since 2010. And I was a part of a collective, still am, of a group of rappers called Ninth Galaxy. That was like a thing that we had, 9G. It was sort of like something where we just kind of collab and we make projects, or at least we try to. And I've been working with Dylan since 2010. And over time, it just kind of formed naturally, and we started to see how things were going with like early on 360 contracts, and then seeing what was happening with streaming. We wasn't really sure like how we were going to break away from one model to another, like as teens, you know what I mean? Trying to figure that out. And also in the South, it is harder to get signed in general, um, at that time, especially. And so we reserved to just like start our own business, get an LLC, and make it simple. And so, like, 2016, we did that, and we didn't really know what to do. It wasn't until like 2020 where we really got serious with it. But it was mostly protection that led us to doing it. We wanted to make our own stuff, and we didn't want to have to rely on an external business model or label to put out our music, you know?
Yeah. See, do you go by? Because obviously, I was when I was looking for you on Spotify, I obviously typed in Erica Ethel first, and then obviously it was Jamal that come up. Do you go by Erica now, or is it like sort of an alter ego type thing, or is it like
So, oh, that's interesting, actually. That's It's kind of both. So essentially, my stage name, Jamal Malachi, that's my dead name.
yeah,
My first and middle name. Since I've transitioned, I do go by Erica, like formally,
right,
personally,
yeah,
and preferably, like, I know it may seem confusing, but I kind of used my dead name sort of like a band. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
there's Guns N' Roses, there's Axl Rose. I'm Erica. Jamal Malachi is the act, the performance. Um, I felt more confident lately with that because there's like more artists who are kind of taking that on. I know like Chaperone does kind of like a drag thing, and Ethel Kane has like a character and a story behind like her work, and so it's been easier for me to take some of my old music and bring that along as I transition. And
Yeah.
so it's just been really almost comforting to be able to keep my dead name and have that propped up as who I am as the rapper character.
Do you think that'll make things harder with like rap? Because obviously it's a very different sort of world with the rap world, ain't it? Like, do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, sure, yeah.
Yes.
But hopefully you get somewhere because would you be the first sort of representation in rap? I can't really think of anybody else in rap that's like gone through a transition and stuff.
Right. So I mean, I'm sure there's artists who may have done that quietly, just to pay respect to them. Artists who may have like done that quietly or may have passed before they could be vocal about their experiences. But beyond that, there's other rappers who have popped up that are trans or gender queer, that I know of. I know Mickey Blanco has been huge in my life, and then in the underground hip hop scene or just hip hop in general, for the past decade or plus. And I don't want to misrepresent how they identify, but they have played with gender and represented their gender in ways that have been completely transgressive and forward pushing in hip hop in ways I don't think that we have seen before. And then, as a lesser known artist like Quay Dash, who's popped up, and there's artists throughout time who have kind of not been spoken about. Here in New Orleans, we have bounce music. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that,
I've
but
heard of it,
there,
yeah.
so there's Big Frida, who is a bounce artist or bounce rapper who essentially is gender fluid. And there's also other rappers who have been, if not trans, maybe gender queer or just femme. You have Sissy Nobi, you have like people of past, you have Messi Maya, like different people who have kind of either bent their gender or played with other genders or, been queer in some capacity or form. And so
Yeah.
I don't want to say I would be the first. Definitely not out of New Orleans and definitely not in hip hop. But I do think that there are a lot of firsts that I am going to, I guess, end up conquering,
Yeah, hopefully.
as I see it. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully. It'd be good to see some different representation in rap because it's always had a bit of a reputation in it just for like hard macho blokes. It's like,
Yeah.
it'd be good to see a different way of it. Like,
I'm really excited for this era that we're in because, there's a lot of women rapping. There's a lot more gay men rapping, and hopefully more trans women and trans people rapping.
Yeah,
But I
it'll
think
be time,
it's,
wouldn't it? It'll be a thing that happens over time, I think.
yeah, I think so. And I think it's needed just because the climate is so weird about trans people right now. I think people need to like see trans people being confident and being excited, getting money, doing things that a rapper would do so that the next time you meet a transgender person in the store, you have like a range to look at
Yeah.
versus certain things that may be, propagandized toward you.
Yeah, definitely. Like you've got to educate yourself on things as well, and you're like, I'm still learning things about it. Like even today, like with this,
Totally.
I'm a bit nervous with you because I didn't want to say
Yeah.
anything like wrong or like because you don't, you've just got to go with it, ain't you? I think, and then
Oh,
but
totally.
as long as you're a nice person, you'll still be a dickhead, is what I say. It's,
Exactly. And I always feel, I'm from New Orleans. It's a smaller city, so everyone either knows you or knows someone who knows you. And it still has that kind of like metropolis mentality. So it's busy in that way. And you can run into situations where, race, religion, sex, gender, all these things can like bump up against who you are. And so there's like a commonality here where it's just like, it's okay, baby. Like there's grace.
yeah,
There's room to like make mistakes. And that's where a lot of the laughs come from. That's where people get their drunkest. That's where people dance the most
yeah,
here
that's
in
where
New
I need to
Orleans.
be.
Yeah, yeah. Like I think it's safer to come make your mistakes here because you could do it with an open heart.
Yeah, cool, man. Who've been like your biggest inspirations with your music and that then? Like
So musically overall, it's a wide range. I'm a Michael Jackson kid. Like I grew
Joe
up
Mike,
loving
love
Michael.
Michaal Jackson. I
Love Michael Jackson. That was like a huge
think we're
deal for
best
me.
friends.
Exactly, right. Like, oh my God. It was like a thing as a kid where I went through a whole phase. Trying to do the dances, trying to do the choreography and dressing like like ruining all of my church clothes, trying
Yeah,
to like imitate Moonwalker. But it's that type of stuff. I'm also very big on um Portishead. I'm big on trip hop in general,
yeah, trip hop's
Massive
is.
Attack. Like stuff like that sound wise have like really shaped me. Um and then just a lot of like emo and punk music that I grew up listening to. That was
Yeah,
like a big deal. But overall, in hip hop, being that that's like what's taken up the bulk of my whole life, some of the classics: Nas, Tupac, Biggie, Jay Z. We know those.
yeah,
Um, but more specific, I really like Lupe Fiasco.
yeah.
I
It's brilliant.
think Lupe Fiasco has been a pillar in the foundation for me trying to figure out what it was I was doing before I knew how well who helped me figure out how to do what I was doing, before I knew that that's what I was doing already. You know what I mean? Like making
Yeah,
sense of it. But then beyond that, man, I like so many people. Tretch was like a big inspiration for me. Naughty by Nature. I like a lot of Missy Elliott. Like that was big, big, big for me.
yeah,
Um, Pharrell, the Neptunes and NERD, I was obsessed with. Kanye West before he lost his mind,
yeah. He's went
um,
a bit batshit crazy, isn't
just a little bit. But
he?
that was like a big fuel for me. I grew up, of course, in New Orleans, so I could just go on. That's almost like a separate thing for me. There's hip hop, and then there's New Orleans hip hop, which is its own whole world. So
Yeah,
you have Currency, you have J Electronica, you have um man, I could go on and on. You have 3D Not T. You have like I feel like there's so many artists. I don't want to bombard you,
yeah.
but you constantly go through this
Send me
thing in
some of
New
them though,
Orleans.
so I'll have a listen to some of them. Send me
Oh
like
yeah, I'll send you a whole list. Yeah, because I mean, there's a whole era with No Limit. There's a whole era with Cash Money. There's a whole era in the blogosphere. Like,
Yeah.
um, I came up during like 2010 onward as like I was 18 in 2010, and so that's when I was really active, and currency was like a huge deal, and kind of like taught a lot of us how to navigate um the music industry or rap music independently. Um, and so yeah, there's a ton of inspirations for me. Like there's tons of R&B music that I grew up on, and
Yeah.
um, yeah, it's a huge wide range.
Who'd be the dream sort of collaboration if you could pick one person to collaborate with? Who would be that person?
Like dead or alive, or like
Yeah, whoever you want.
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Oh yeah, yeah, it was a great show.
Earth, Wind, and Fire. I don't know what I would do in the middle of their whole thing, but I would figure it out. Even if I just play trombone, I would just like,
That's crazy that you play trombone as well. I like that. That's cool.
yeah. I haven't, incorporated into my raps at all, but that's where my formal
Got to try
training
and do at
used to
least
come
one
from.
song with a trombone in there.
Right? Oh my
Yeah.
God. Shout out to Trombone Shorty. Trombone Shorty is an artist out here in New Orleans. We actually have the same music director. And that
Yeah,
like
well,
that's groundbreaking to incorporate that styling into rap. Like I always admired that. And I don't know if I could pull that off, but I'm willing to try. I'm willing to try.
I'll challenge you to do it. You've got to do it now.
Yes, I will. I'm gonna try.
What's next for you then? Well, you've got like more songs coming out or like an album or
Yes, so I have my debut album finished. Um, that one is another collection of earlier work, um, recorded between 2019, 2020. And for obvious reasons, at the time, I wasn't able to do the full rollout, and it set me back a lot.
yeah.
Um, and I ended up going into my transition. So I've held off on releasing it for a while, but I'm in current preparation to release that. That'll be a full LP. And then from there, I have a collab project with Jackie Jules that I'm going to be releasing soon after, as soon as I can. I'm really excited for that one. And then I'm going back into the studio to record more work for a collaboration with an artist named Josh Brugman. He's a
Cool.
producer who does more instrumental and composed work, composition. That is something I'm really excited to embark on. It's kind of like that athletic thing that I talked about. It's a lot of preparation because the music for that is it's big and it takes a lot. There's a lot of accompaniments. So that's going to be like the next thing that I'm going to be recording. But I have like two projects before that I'm going to be dropping.
Ah, cool, man. Well, that's like that's it really. Like that, was just wanted to like have a small chat, like just get to know you and hear about your story.
Yeah, yeah, I appreciate it honestly.
Yeah, I appreciate it so much. Like, thanks for doing it, man. It's quality.
Oh, no problem, man. I love to chat again anytime.